Bet365.
Moments ago, this was the scene at Hampden Park in Glasgow. Martin O'Neill, in his last game in charge of Celtic, lifted the Tennent Scottish Cup with his assistants John Robertson and Stevie Walford. Celtic won it, 1-0. And they celebrated in style. They celebrated the Celtic way. And these again live pictures. Martin O'Neill is saying goodbye to the Celtic support. A highly charged, highly emotional moment for Martin O'Neill. This is what these supporters inside Hampden wanted to see today. They don't want to see him go, but they realise he has to. Charlie Nicholas, hugely emotional scenes for Martin O'Neill here.
Well, it's always that way at big clubs, Jim. You know, Celtic, Rangers, any of the big teams in England, you always get tied in with it, you get locked up on a day-to-day basis, the emotions run high, you win prizes, you lose prizes, it makes you stronger, and then sometimes when you leave, a year down the line you actually appreciate what you've left behind, and this man has got Celtic back to respectability in Europe. Domestically, well, there'll always be the challenge with Celtic and Rangers, but Europe is essential to me, and I think Martin's proved his point is essential to him.
Walter, hundreds of Celtic scarves coming down, an absolute avalanche of them. How will Martin O'Neill be feeling right now as he finishes his career at Celtic?
Well, I think he'll be feeling a little bit sad at the present moment under the circumstances. Losing last week in the Championship was obviously a big blow to him. He's made up for it today by winning the Cup. It happened to me at my last game at Rangers, we lost. And even then, in a lap of honour, it was still an emotional moment. So I can imagine that emotion mixed by the joy of winning today after last week's disappointment. I think Martin will be feeling terrific at the present moment, and he's getting a terrific reception here.
There's a certain relief in it all, Jim. He's made his decision. He's gone for the right reasons. Family comes first. We wish him well, him and Geraldine. But I think overall, he's had a great 5 years. Some people debate domestically whether he could have won more. Well, that will always be there with Celtic. But Europe, again, you can't emphasise enough where he's got the reputation back. Jockstein's the greatest ever manager in my lifetime. Another manager came in and done well, but he's got the credibility back. And I hope for the sake not just of Celtic, but Scotland in general, it drags the standard back up and it focuses back in Europe. And I don't care what anybody says, Celtic fans sing Walk On better than Liverpool.
Walter, we'll talk about him more later. Gordon Strachan is bound to be watching this. How does he follow this?
Well, I think he knows he's a tough job straight away, not only in following someone who's been a terrific manager at a club over 5 years, but the fact that quite a number of players will leave as well. The expectation from a Celtic point of view is that they're up there and they're challenging. Nobody gives anything for the fact that they may lose 5 or 6 players at the end of the season. Gordon will have to bring them in, he'll have to get his team settled as quickly as possible. And that's life at Celtic and Rangers.
It's a remarkable turnaround when you think of Celtic and Rangers. Martin will walk away next week relieved and go on with his life. He will be back in football in some capacity. I hope it's sooner rather than later. But Jim, this team that he's left has done tremendously well. A lot of the players who he's bought for big money have stayed the distance with him. But unfortunately today, enjoy it Celtic because you deserve it. But at the same time, this team is on its knees. It's finished, it's old, it's going to get broken up, and a new era begins.
Walter, are we watching a proud man, a highly dignified man?
Well, I think we're watching. I think Martin's shown that over the period. He's handled himself terrifically well over the time that he's been in Scotland, and I think you're looking at someone who is immensely proud to have been a manager at Celtic, to have been a manager at a top club. I don't think there's anything quite like it when you go into a club a big club and you can take them to the top and you can keep them there and you can have the success that they had, you feel proud of that achievement. And I think that will probably be his overwhelming feeling just now. He'll be so proud of the fact that he's gone out as a winner, that he has been in the time that he's been in charge.
See, another thing, not just for managers, but players, but we focus on management at the moment, and Walter's a specialist in that also. But it's very rare that managers actually walk away with great credibility and with a bit of style. And Martin's won the cup today, so he can go away with the legacy that he's built up, and with a great feeling. A lot of players and managers have left Celtic in the past for the wrong reasons.
Charlie Walter, for the moment, thanks. You're watching amazing scenes here at Hampden Park. Celtic won the cup by 1-0. But these fans are showing their appreciation for one man, Martin O'Neill.